Well, good evening and welcome to the Saturday edition of Poland Daily. I'm Conrad Gorlinski, and this is the news. Well, during the last 24 hours, the Ukrainian Air Force conducted more than 40 combat flights, supporting their land forces. Several Russian checkpoints and ammunition warehouses have been destroyed. Ukrainian forces destroyed about 60 objects of Russian equipment and hit their logistics routes, including a pontoon bridge over the Dnieper. Positional flights are also underway in southern Ukraine.
The command of the Ukrainian army reported that 2 Ukraine Bayraktar drones destroyed enemy equipment worth over $26 million in 3 days. The Russians are activating aerial intelligence operations in southern Ukraine and are trying to attack, but our soldiers successfully deflect attacks. Russia is taking advantage of the information silence, introducing Ukraine to activate its own propaganda, and is doing it unskillfully. We count on the strength of our weapons and our unity. There is a storm on the Black Sea, but the missile threat from the ships stationed there remains. The G7 finance ministers, in a joint statement, confirmed that they intend to set a cap on the price of Russian oil. These actions are intended to reduce the main source of financing for Russian aggression against Ukraine. We fight for the support and understanding of Ukraine in all European countries. Each time we remind you that if Ukraine is defended, all Europe, the entire democratic world, will defend itself. That is why it is worth considering the decision agreed today by the Big Seven to reduce the price of Russian oil. The implementation of this mechanism will become an important element in the defense of civilized countries and energy markets against Russian hybrid aggression. The price of Russian gas must also be limited. Some of the delegations from the International Atomic Energy Agency have already completed their mission in energy. 6 experts remained on site. At the beginning of next week, we will know the report on the safety of the power plant.
6 of our experts remain there. They are going to continue the work that we started yesterday. And after that, as I also indicated in Kyiv, and after the visit and the inspection in Zaporizhia when I came back, and at the plant itself, we are establishing a permanent presence on site, this time with 2 of our experts, which will be continuing the work.
Civilians are still dying in missile attacks in Ukraine. Yesterday, an 8-year-old child was killed. 2 others were injured. Today, in Chernihiv, an unexploded bomb detonated during an ammunition exhibition. 3 children were injured. The prosecutor of Ukraine has opened an investigation.
And Russian energy giant Gazprom announced on Friday that it will completely shut down the Nord Stream pipeline. Equipment failures and the need for more repairs were the reasons cited for the shutdown. Russia has scrapped today's deadline to resume gas flows via the Nord Stream 1 pipeline, one of the main supply routes to Europe, after saying it discovered a fault during maintenance, deepening Europe's difficulties in securing fuel for the winter. Gazprom said, jointly with Siemens representatives, in an announcement that during routine maintenance work on the Trent 60 gas compressor unit at the Portovaya compressor station, an oil leakage was found at the juncture of the cables of the low and medium pressure rotor speed sensors. The oil leakage detection report was also signed by a Siemens representative. Roscosmos has issued a warning to Gazprom that as the detected faults and damage are threatening the safe operation of the gas turbines and severe protocol violations have been discovered, appropriate measures must be taken immediately to suspend further operation of the Trent 60 turbine unit. Gazprom stressed in the announcement that the natural gas transmission through the Nord Stream pipeline has been completely stopped until the technical faults are fully solved. Nord Stream 1, which runs under the Baltic Sea to supply Germany and others, had been due to resume operating a 3-day halt for maintenance early this morning. But Gazprom, the state-controlled firm with a monopoly on Russian gas exports via the pipeline, said on Friday it could no longer provide a time frame for restarting deliveries after finding the oil leak. Moscow has blamed sanctions imposed on the West after Russia invaded Ukraine for hampering routine operations and maintenance of the Nord Stream 1. Brussels says this is a pretext, and Russia is using gas as an economic weapon to retaliate. Gas prices have skyrocketed, hurting European industry and households, surging first due to recovering demand after the pandemic, and then rising further because of the Ukraine crisis. On Friday evening, Klaus Müller, president of German energy regulator Bundesnetzagentur, tweeted that while Germany was better prepared this time, it was now essential that everyone did their bit to save on gas usage. As energy prices soar, the people of Warsaw are doing their part to help with the savings. Warsaw residents joined together at a local park to pedal their way to power a huge outdoor movie screen. This event was part of a series aimed at encouraging more environmentally friendly lifestyles.
Dozens of Poles showed up at the event to watch the film Knives Out. A row of bikes had been set up behind fold-out chairs in front of a big screen on a clear late summer's night in the Polish capital of Warsaw in central Pole Mokotowskie Park. The bikes were plugged into a generator that would provide at least 50% of the power required to show the film. While pedaling a static bike, the screen showed how much charge one was generating to display the film. For some people like Marek Kaszewek, 63, there's no better way to spend an evening than watching a film, riding a bike, and doing something good for the planet all at once. Today I came here to watch a movie. It's the end of summer. I came to watch a movie and move around a little. I think we are learning how to function in a new world that changes so fast. It's important to find a good way to continue helping our planet. This event is pro-ecological. 50% of the energy necessary to power the infrastructure of the cinema is generated by the muscles of our viewers on bikes, which are connected to the infrastructure of the screen and the blower that is supplying it. The initiative is part of a series set up by service company Impel that has toured Polish cities this summer with the aim of encouraging Poles to think about more environmentally friendly ways of living. I have a bike trainer at home, and I was thinking about how to rebuild it to charge my phone on winter evenings. The negative impact of companies is felt daily. Snowless winters, torrential rain, excessive temperatures. We don't need to explain anymore what global warming is. We feel it every day. This is an SOS from our planet. Patrycja Kowalkowska, 25, brought her boyfriend to see the movie and said she's been spending more time thinking of ways to limit her energy use. Before I got on the bike, I even said that I would like one like that to charge my phone. I had a thought that crossed my mind here. If this winter there will be such an option for energy. I already have a bicycle. I just need to connect it to the electrical system. Well, if you have to, there is no other choice. The events have been held as energy prices are set to spike across Europe, and many Poles wonder how they will afford their bills. Around 3.8 million people in Poland rely on coal for heating, and now face shortages and price hikes after Poland and the European Union imposed an embargo on Russian coal, following Moscow's invasion of Ukraine.
And finally, let's turn to the upcoming World Cup. There's news that Qatar will permit ticketed fans to buy alcoholic beer at World Cup soccer matches, starting 3 hours before kickoff and for 1 hour after the final whistle, but not during the match. A source with knowledge of plans for the tournament has said. Budweiser, a major World Cup sponsor with exclusive rights to sell beer at the tournament, will serve beer within the ticketed perimeter surrounding each stadium, but not in the stadium stands or concourse. This year's World Cup is the first to be held in a Muslim country with strict controls on alcohol, presenting unique challenges for organizers of an event sponsored by a major beer brand and often associated with beer-drinking fans. Beer will be available when gates open, which is 3 hours before kickoff. Whoever wants to have a beer will be able to, and then when they leave the stadium as well for 1 hour after the final whistle, the source said. Additionally, Budweiser will be permitted to serve beer in part of the main FIFA fan zone in central Doha from 6:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. every day of the 29-day tournament, which kicks off on November 20th. At previous World Cup tournaments, beer was served in fan zones all day long. The decision about where and when beer will be sold to fans is now finalized, but the price fans will be charged for the beer is still under discussion. Qatar's World Cup organizers, the Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy, did not respond to requests for comment about the World Cup controls on alcohol. Qatar's government media office directed requests to the Supreme Committee. There are 4 matches scheduled on most days of the tournament's group stage, with the earliest match kicking off at 1 p.m. Questions have swirled around the role alcohol would play in this year's World Cup since Qatar won hosting rights in 2010. While not a dry state like neighboring Saudi Arabia, consuming alcohol in public places is illegal in Qatar. Visitors cannot bring alcohol into Qatar, even from airport duty-free, and they cannot buy alcohol at the country's only liquor store on the outskirts of Doha. Only foreign residents with permits can shop there for home consumption. Visitors can drink at a few dozen licensed hotels and clubs, where a pint of beer can cost at least $18. Well, thanks very much for joining us this evening. Please stay with us for Poland Daily Weather, Poland Daily Business, and other programs. But for me, it's have a wonderful Saturday night.